And thanks so much for making time with me tonight on Business Live. Welcome back. Government is challenging other West African countries to fast-track required structures and processes that would aid introduction of the single currency, the ECO, from next year. This was contained in a statement issued by the presidency following a decision by French-speaking African countries to join the monetary union. Economist Courage Mate analyzed the development earlier on the marketplace.
I don't feel confident that we are ready in the next year to adopt a single currency for the English-speaking West African countries because of the policy environment, structural constraints, and so on and so forth. In the statement that was published by the government of Ghana, there were calls for reminders that countries need to adopt flexible exchange rates. Now, on that particular point, if you go to Nigeria today, in 2016, when they devalued the naira by some 60% or so, since then, the naira has little change from where it was then and now, and then you wonder whether that is a really flexible exchange rate, and then it's so that if you don't float the naira, by the time the ECO comes through and then you have to devalue again, other countries might be importing inflation from other regions that will adopt, and that will also undermine the stability of the new currency. So it appears member states still have some structural and policy constraints they have to overcome. Long run, I wonder how long is that, but then I see commitment. Every year we see some amount of commitment coming through. I think the stakes have been increased in the last year or two, and I strongly believe that we are getting there. Let's also recall that we've also established this free trade area for the continent, and so if you adopt our West African currency regions, and let's also note that East Africa is also doing its own thing. So increasingly, we are looking at each other and wanting to increase our integration.
Now, CEO of the Private Enterprise Federation, Nana Saibonsu, is pushing for a mechanism where multinationals in the country would be forced to cap dividends and profit repatriation to shareholders. He believes this would help deal with expected pressure on the local currency in the first quarter of 2020. The decision by multinationals to repatriate their profits and dividends within the first quarter puts more pressure on the cedi. CEO of the Federation maintains if this option is strictly enforced by the central bank, it would help manage the pressure on the cedi.
Every first quarter, when foreign investors are repatriating their profit home, there's a gyration. So what do? Sit down, talk to the businesses. Those are the repatriating profit. Ghana does not have unlimited or limitless debt of foreign exchange. We have limited amounts. So if we're going to do that, let's target them in a way that the businesses who are looking to repatriate their profits home to pay dividend and all, will also appreciate and understand that they have to limit the repatriation a certain quantum, a certain percentage, at a certain time, so it doesn't affect our currency. Because its effect on currency is also affecting the way we do business, and that's the fact of it.
You also supported that whilst we work with these companies to stagger their dividend payment, which they always say, a little bit of a short-termish approach for more of a Bank of Ghana intervention to supply a little bit more dollars to stabilize it a little bit whilst you look at other long-termish measures?
That is not short-termish. Bank of Ghana does not create dollars. It gets dollars basically because of transactions and monetary policy. So if we're talking about having those that are taking that dollars away, working with government and staggering that we can take one quarter at a time, then the government should look at it and make sure that we can work with our partners. And much more, that's why we said that when we attract the FDIs, do we look at the quantum coming in? Because when they go now, they go out in liquid assets. When they come in liquid plus in kind. How do we monetize the in kind for them to repatriate that profit home? Those are kind of discussions we have to make. As much as and as long as we're trying to attract FDIs, let's look at the whole ball of wax. Let me give you an example. Ethiopia, attracting a whole range of FDIs. They're putting that FDI investment into products that are exportable. So the products go and they generate foreign exchange. So there's no demand and dependency on the local limited foreign exchange within the country. So these are where you can target your FDIs to produce enough elements within the country to go out and create more value, bringing a lot more foreign exchange.
Now, microfinance operators have appealed for an extension of the deadline for their minimum capital requirements. The Bank of Ghana has set December 2020 for all operators to meet the deadline. But speaking in an interview with Joy Business, CEO of Universal Microfinance Company, one of the few companies which have already met the requirements, appealed for a further extension to enable many microfinance companies to continue to stay in business. Kodwa Mufa Fofi was speaking at an end-of-year engagement with clients in Accra.
The association has put up an appeal that the regulator should accept to extend the deadline to December so that they will be able to put themselves together to meet it. And I will also want to add my voice that even though I'm not one of those who have not met it, we met it long ago and we are very liquid, we are doing very well. The government should, the regulator should take a second look at it and then do the extension for them. Because if they don't do, I don't know what they will do apart from accepting the extension, because what it means is that these institutions cannot operate. And if they cannot operate, because their licenses will be revoked, and if they should revoke licenses again, then the people will say, you said you are done, but you are still doing it.
So why don't they go into measures?
That is what I also recommend. That's what I also recommend to our colleagues, that if they should merge, if you have 1 million and the other has 1 million, you come together, you've met it, and you have one company. You know, in Ghana, that is the problem that we have. The people, everybody will want to take it as a solo and or a key player and want to play and score. But if you start from the end, you want to get to score, somebody will pull you down. And so I think also, in as much as we are requesting that the regulator should accept to accept the extension proposal, they should also think of merger. Because even if they give December, some of them may not be able to meet it. So merger is an option that I will recommend and commend.
Away from the financial sector, now government has indicated that it will be reducing gas supplies from Nigeria for power production. The move is aimed at dealing with low usage of gas from Jubilee Field, which has affected tallow oil production. The development has impacted on profits of the firm for 2019 and even expected to hit it badly in the coming year. Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, tells Joy Business government is committed to taking some short-term measures to deal with the challenges facing tallow oil.
We have to find a way to increase gas supply from Jubilee, but increasing gas supply from Jubilee means that you have to reduce gas supply from another field operated by another company. I mean, given the level of demand that we have, you cannot increase gas production from Jubilee and keep the level of production from the other fields, because there is no demand for that. And so this affects other players, other than tallow oil. And so the Minister for Energy has constituted a body comprising all the gas producers so that we can discuss a workable solution, building consensus around that solution in order that nobody is adversely affected. I mean, certainly we need the gas for power generation, but we also have commitments to the gas producers. Once they produce the gas, we have to pay. In some of the contracts, you have take-or-pay obligations. Even if you don't take it, you will still have to pay. And that is what we are confronted with in the OCTP contract. And therefore, increasing gas from one field and reducing from another have some implications, including financial implications. That is why we need to be able to reach some consensus before implementing whatever solution we will arrive at.
What will this committee be doing in terms of presenting proposals to the minister as in the way forward, or what?
Yes, certainly. I mean, we want to be able to get proposals with inputs from the producing companies. And there are a number of proposals that have come up. For example, some have suggested that because we are already paying for the gas from OCTP, whether we take it or not, we will pay. Jubilee gas is free for now because of the foundation volumes that Ghana has been given for free. And so you increase Jubilee gas production, reduce supply from OCTP, even though you will still pay for it. But you have been able to neutralize the composite gas price with the free gas coming from Jubilee. That is one. And so the benefits you derive from this proposal is that you neutralize the composite gas price with the free gas that is coming, even though you will pay for what you will not consume from OCTP. But other advantages are the liquids. We get more liquids from Jubilee, and therefore Ghana Gas is able to produce more LPG to meet 50% of the demand, the domestic demand. And so whichever way you go, there are disadvantages, there are some advantages.
Now, construction firms are appealing to government for tax incentives to start up businesses in the industry. CEO of Prestodia Ghana, Samuel Pepra, believes this would help attract more people into the sector and help to reduce unemployment. He is positive such a move would also enhance growth of the manufacturing sector in the face of high rates of importation. Mr. Pepra spoke with Love Business at the opening of the company's new branch office at Asokore-Mampong in the Ashanti region. Prince Apia has more.
Officials of Prestodia Ghana projects to train over 500 artisans in Ashanti region within the period of 5 years. The initiative is part of measures to address the growing unemployment, especially in Asokore-Mampong municipality. Focus will be on manufacturing and production of fabrication and welding equipment. Founder and CEO Samuel Pepra tells Love Business the initiative is important for the operations of the business.
Within 5 years, Prestodia is looking to train 500 to 1,000 artisans in fabrication to help the industry to grow and to avoid unemployment in the country. There should be an availability of credit from the government for start-up businesses, especially in the construction industry, to help the youth.
Mr. Pepra spoke to Love Business during the opening of its new branch office at Asokore-Mampong, opposite the Garden City School in Ashanti region. Head of Marketing Jane Osafo believes tax incentives for startups in the construction industry is critical to encourage more people.
In a world of ever-increasing mass production, our ability to manufacture one-off bespoke items to the highest standard, be it designing and fabricating, we approach every project with every detail and creativity. Our team of experts, designers and fabricators can turn your ideas into reality using a high-quality materials and range of finishes. We work with stainless steel, glass works, and offer ranges of finishes including hot dip galvanized powder coated. Every customer's total satisfaction is very paramount to the success of our business. We undertake a full range of service for domestic, business and corporate clients. Whatever the size of the job, large or small, we aim at establishing the exact needs of each client. We take enormous pride in our work and endeavor to find the right technical solutions most cost effectively.
Prestodia Ghana Limited specializes in the production of balustrades, aluminium UPVC sliding doors and windows, architectural metal works, fabrication and installations. Prince Apia reporting.
You're watching Business Live. Now, climate variability and change continue to pose a major threat to national development and especially the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises. This is because of the effects of climate change is being experienced in all facets of life and in all the major sectors of the Ghanaian economy. Disasters such as floods, rainstorms and strong winds are becoming more frequent than before, and some of these can be attributed to the effects of climate change. According to the World Bank, flood risks are increasing in the Greater Accra region of Ghana, and it's estimated that close to $3.2 billion worth of economic assets are at risk of flooding in the region. These are indeed disturbing facts. The International Chamber of Commerce, ICC Ghana, recognizes that mitigation and adaptation actions require the collective efforts of government, the private sector, and society. So I've been joined in the studio by the Secretary General of the ICC, Emmanuel Donikwame, to tell us more about some of these coping strategies of climate change. Now, so before we even go ahead, I know there was a COP conference earlier this month, climate change conference. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, there was the 25th Conference of Parties in Madrid. The conference was initially scheduled for Chile. But as a result of the political situation in Chile, it was moved to Madrid. And the results were not as expected. There were the push for some agency, because the crisis, it's getting worse, especially in areas like Brazil, and as we realized recently in Australia. And in Ghana, we all can feel it, the severe heat as a result of the harmattan. And the target is to maintain temperatures within 1.5 degrees over time. Okay. But with the current situation where temperatures keep on increasing every year, for example, if the temperatures in December for last year was, let's say, between 30 to 32, we expected to get the temperature increasing in 2019 by a degree or two. And these are things that need to be addressed. And
you said the targets were not met as expected. What were you expecting, as some of these targets?
It had more to do with the negotiations, especially with regard to Article 6, which spells out the rules for carbon trading, and it spells out the policy guidelines for the trading of emission reduction between states. Okay. And most countries failed to agree on the terms as captured in the Paris Agreement. Wow. So we're now looking to COP26, that's the 26th Conference of Parties, which will be held in Glasgow, Scotland.
All right. So why has the ICC taken it upon itself to embark on this advocacy, for especially the cause of small and medium-scale enterprises?
As a business organization, we realize that climate change is everybody's business. And we are an organization which is 100 years since its inception, and we realize that we need to look very deep into the future. Okay. And then we realize that with the changing in the nature of the environment, we need to focus on increasing investment in projects that may tend to yield results over time. And as businessmen, definitely we will look at how to reduce carbon emissions over time. So our target is a net zero emission by 2050. It may look ambitious, but one step at a time.
And how are you getting these companies involved in this particular fight?
We have most of the big guys in there. We believe we've had most of our big corporate bodies involved in fossil fuels. We are not expecting people to move from the use of fossil fuels and then move to renewables straight away. But we need to focus our investment and then get policymakers to come out with policies that will at least de-risk investment in that angle, especially in developed
And for
countries,
now, would you say that government has been forthcoming with some of these policies or intentions to mitigate
government, at least, I've moved around the country. I have a place in Comenda, and I saw the work being done by the sea defense, building sea defense, because it's not just soaring heat, rising sea levels. If you move along our coastlines from Cape Coast, maybe all the way from Aflao all the way to Cape 3 Point, you realize that the rising sea levels seems to be affecting those who grow coconuts along the coastline. Most of our coconuts end up in the middle of the sea. You know the situation in Kita and Ada. So we're spending a lot of money building sea defenses, and these are some of the measures that come into play. But to address it, as we said, we need to invest more in renewables. We also look at the impact on jobs, you know, because if you push and you promote most of these projects, you also have to look at the side effect on communities and on jobs, so that the transition period does not have a negative impact on various communities.
Now, do you have any key indicators? Because we've been hammering on this climate change for a long time. Do you have any indicators that you show that your advocacy is actually yielding results?
Oh, at the policy level, I know Ministry of Science and Technology, they are more or less the body that attends the conferences. And they're doing a lot along those lines. And we've also been monitoring the type of investments that come in. A lot of people are more conscious. We've had a couple of conferences this year on climate change, which was well attended. You know, the president seems to be very in tune with the glowing changes. The problem we have is with the